So, I've kind of had a problem over the course of the past year of just figuring out how to find creative references and subjects to influence my own art as I develop characters from my world. It's been a difficult process for me because what I used to do was I would just go on Pinterest for literally everything. I would just type it into Pinterest and I would kind of pull collectively from the pages different aspects of things that I've seen other artists do and incorporate them into my own characters. And then obviously stuff from my own imagination, things that I've seen and things that have been described to me throughout literature. I think that that's a pretty standard way of going about pulling references for artistic endeavors. But what started to happen over the course of the past couple years, specifically like 2 years ago and the past year, to Pinterest as a platform is just, I think that Pinterest is worse than most, but just the sheer amount of AI that you get thrown at you from the homepage and from all of the search results. It's almost all AI. And it bothered me so much that I just ended up deleting Pinterest. I don't want to pull from AI as an artistic reference. I would never use it myself, and I like to pull from other artists, like from their experience and from their creative endeavors. I think that that's super, super healthy. I think that's how we learn, because you can see intent behind their artwork. That's really, really important to me. I mean, if you look at my protagonist, like I can tell you all of the different artistic influences that I pulled from and I came up with on my own to cultivate his aesthetic persona. This is then Ricky's one of my protagonists. And it's a really fun process to me. And I didn't want to just use the AI images off of Pinterest. And then I got to thinking, it doesn't actually this has helped me a lot in the philosophy of artwork because it sparked this train of thought in my head, but I wasn't really respecting that much of a process. I was just typing things into a search bar and looking at all of the things that kind of made me stop scrolling for a couple seconds to pull ideas. It wasn't really that profound of a process, which is what it is, but for whatever reason, AI bothers me in the space of art. I have mentioned that before. I'm not going to go in depth into why it bothers me now, but the bottom of the line was I needed a solution. I needed a solution to come up with references. And what I started to do was I started going to kind of thrift shops and stuff like that, that was kind of fun. And piecing together clothing and different stuff like that to kind of to spark my ideas, because the fashion within my era it's old, but it's not ancient. So I could still find things that would kind of work. They're not necessarily wearing tunics. They're wearing trousers. Think 1600s to 1750s is generally the historic equivalent within our own timeline to what my story would be set in. So it wasn't super hard, but it didn't quite feel what I needed to. It was cool. Hold on. Probably at the bottom of the stack. So this jacket that Tom is wearing, I pulled this from this is a jacket that I own from the thrift store. I mean, obviously I've made some culturally appropriate modifications to it when I rendered it for my artwork, but you get the point. And then I got an idea. And this is probably going forward as I create characters exclusively what I'm going to do. I am going to just start going to Ren fairs. I went to one this past weekend, and I was just with my buddies. I went on a whim. It's not really my thing, not for any particular reason. I think that it's the same kind of escapism that reading is, or playing a video game. Some people like to do costumes and go to a Ren fair. I would almost argue that the social aspect of it is more healthy, but it's just never really been my thing. So I went to one, and it's still not something that I'm crazy interested in participating as far as cosmetics go. But let me tell you, as just a resource for getting ideas, Ren fairs are freaking sick. Oh my god. I've never really been a Comic-Con or a Ren Fair guy, but I did not realize how much intent some of these people put into like their costumes and stuff. And some of them are stupid and ridiculous, still fun, but stupid and ridiculous, and have no like practical applications within like the place of a fantasy story. But some people are totally focused on like functionality, and it's really, really cool to see the way that set pieces move. And like you can just go up to them, and if you ask them to explain their costume, they're overjoyed to talk to you about it because they've put so much time and effort into it. And as an artist, this really helps me because I can understand real time how these pieces move and how they're kind of supposed to flow off the body. I'm publishing my first book right now. I didn't do any of this for the characters in my first novel, and I can't believe it. I'm super upset that I just started thinking about this, and it's so cool. I'm super, super excited about it. I was with my buddies, and I didn't have my sketchbook at the one that I just went to, and I was furious. So I started drawing on napkins, just the pieces that interested me. I'm probably gonna do like a series on this where I go to Ren fairs and I draw the things and like make my characters based off of the different aspects and clothing articles that I see on the people there. But I think that there's such a potential for just gaining artistic influence this way, and I'm super, super excited about it because it's difficult, you know. I like to believe a pretty expansive imagination. I've written an entire series of novels. I draw characters all of the time, and I've studied the different fashions throughout history with the explicit purpose of putting them onto my characters. But this is like the people here are filling a gap that I didn't even know I was struggling with so deeply. And I think that that's kind of cool because it just represents how AI can push me into, like, kind of inadvertently, as I'm trying to escape it, into a really artistically healthy environment. I think that that's really, really cool. And it's just not something that I was expecting. But here we are. Like, if Pinterest hadn't been so flooded with AI, I would have probably never thought this way. And now that it has been, it's just really cool. I'm super, super psyched on it. So yeah. I don't know how exactly I'm going to record it. I might even take like I said, I'm recording on my phone right now. Still don't have a camera, so I mean, maybe I'll just I get a little self-conscious putting up a tripod in public. I'm probably not going to do that. But maybe when I'm drawing at these Ren fairs, I will show some of my references, which is something that I've kind of wanted to be doing since I've started this channel. So yeah, maybe I'll do it that way. I don't know how I'm going to show this to you guys, but just for me as an individual, I am super, super psyched on this. I think that it's going to be really, really cool. And so yeah, that's this video. I'm just excited about this kind of being a fun alternate way, and I'll keep you guys updated on where it goes.